Goldwing rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who is fearless, a young loner on a crusade to championing the cause in a world of reckless automobiles. These are my motovlogs.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Chris. On my last video, I was showing you guys that I repaired my power line inverter, and some of you guys was inquiring about my trunk. You was inquiring about the lights that I have installed in my trunk. You wanted to know, how did I put them in? Where did I get them? Did they come from the factory? You had a lot of questions that was unanswered. And so I'm going to make this video to kind of clear up some of the questions that some of you guys may have about my trunk lights. First thing I want to talk about is I have already pre-wired my trunk with 12 volts of DC power. I've already pre-wired it. You cannot see it because I basically have it covered up under the mats. I've already have the trunk pre-wired. I installed a 12 volt DC power outlet, and that basically comes off of the battery. I have a off and on switch in between, so when the bike is off, I can still get power to the rear of my trunk, or when the bike is running. Either way, I have 12 volts DC power already wired up on my trunk. Here would be my two 12 volt DC power outlets, and basically your standard car chargers for your cell phones and GoPro batteries and things like that is regular DC power. I just basically would plug it in, and I'll get a blue light on this charger here. If you can see that blue light, that means I got power to my 12 volt outlet. I also have one here. There's the blue light. So I have two power outlets that will give me DC power. Now, when it comes to my inverter, it takes DC power and it converts it to AC power. And I basically just plug it in like so. And right now I'm getting about 119.3 volts. So we have the DC power outlet, we have a DC AC converter, and like I said, my trunk is already pre-wired, and right now I'm going to talk to you about the lights and give you a demonstration on how I put them in. Remember, the trunk is already pre-wired. I'm not going to get into how to wire the trunk, but I will tie into the existing wiring to show you guys how I install trunk lights on my GL1800 Goldwing. Now you can see I do have lights to the trunk. I have two LED lights, one on each side. I figured that would be enough lighting for this compartment, but since you guys are asking about my lights, I'm going to go ahead and just put two more in. Okay, the first thing before I get started, I always use a 12 volt circuit tester. I never do electrical work on my bike without a tester. If anybody out there does work without a tester, I wouldn't trust them. And I think a good place to mount this light would be along the side. It'll be kind of out of the way and to the back. So I know that's going to line up. Okay. As you can see, the screws are long on one side. So what I'm going to have to do is drill it down. I'm going to put the screw back through the panel, and all I'm going to do is tie it into the existing light. I know that my black is ground. I know that my 12 is hot. So all I need to do is just tie the black to the black and the red to the red. Make sure I press the T-cap nice and tight. And that's the thing I like about these T-caps. I don't have to cut any wires. I'm gonna make sure I got a good connection, because bouncing around, if it's any type of short, then you would have flickering lights, and I don't want any flickering lights. My phone always rings every time I motovlog. It never fails. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I got a good tight connection. Sometimes you have to improvise. Things are not always perfect. Now, okay, there it is. I'm gonna wiggle the wire and make sure nothing is flickering. Okay, so now I know I do have a good connection. Feed the wire through the center hole. The hardest part about wiring up trunk lights is getting the trunk pre-wired with a 12-volt connection. Once you get it pre-wired for a 12-volt connection, you can tie everything from there, and it shouldn't be too hard. Generally with these T-caps, you shouldn't have to splice the wires the way that I'm doing. But by their being so small, the wires are so small, I want to make sure I got a good connection. Snap it down good. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure I crimp it down nice and tight. Do the same for the ground. Hot to hot, ground to ground. And when I turn this on, I should get this light to come on, and hopefully we don't have a loose connection. I'm gonna hit my little trusty switch. There we go. Make sure that the lights, I'm gonna jiggle my wires, make sure that I don't have any loose connections. So all the thing I need to do now is get this trunk cleaned up. The hardest part about this job was getting the trunk wired up with the 12-volt DC power. Once I got it wired up, it was easy to come back later to install the trunk lights. And on my next video, I will be showing you guys how to adjust the CB radio SWR meter to make sure that the CB radio is operating at its maximum potential. Well, anyway, that's all I have for you guys at this time. This is your boy Chris out here in the garage, and I just put 2 more trunk lights to show you guys how to set it up. And I will, as always, I will talk to you guys later. See you.